Can we talk? Hey everybody, Combat Weekly, Combat Insiders, Joshua Furs, Nick Portella, Wayne Carl, and wow, we weren't going to do this live, but it was so much crazy stuff was going on right now with the whole Jon Jones thing, the whole thing getting moved. I guess let's just get right into the nitty gritty. Jon Jones. Here's what we do know. We know that it's not he didn't get like busted by Osada or nothing like that. He got the Nevada State Athletic Commission would not sanction him to fight. They would not approve him to fight. He couldn't get his license. Okay. So long story short, what they did was they went to California and he got one. What they basically said was there's a lot of technical stuff here that I can read to you, but in the short version is they're saying that he still had remnants in his system from back in July. That it's the same stuff. Therefore, he's not held to any degree of like he's not in trouble because it's the same stuff. I guess I'll just pause there. That's the gist of it. What do you guys think?
I look at it, it's the week of fight week, massive week, and now all of a sudden it comes out. I call bullshit. Straight out, I'm going to call bullshit. Something's not right. They're moving a whole event with how many fighters? Just to, so Jon Jones is on it. I don't see how the week of the fight they've now come up with, he's tested, it's still there. No matter how small it is, it's still there. How many times has he been tested and it hasn't come out? Now all of a sudden, bang, yep, it's still there, but we're going to let you fight. I don't get it. Nick, what do you think?
I wish I knew more about the drug to see if I don't know anything that remains that long, you know?
Yeah.
So something's not. I don't know. Something's kind of off. I think something's off. I am happy he's fighting, but I don't think it's all copacetic just yet. I don't know. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. I'm glad the fight's on because I want to see Gus beat him. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in agreement. I mean, I want to see the fight go on. I'm glad the fight's going on. I think everybody can agree on that. But it is, like you said, it is strange. So if you're a Jon Jones fan, or if you're not, obviously we don't have all the information. The only thing we have is that statement, and we have Jon Jones coming out and saying that he's a clean fighter. And then him and DC got into it again. You know, DC come out saying, I told you so, pretty much. He got caught again. It is strange, right? This whole thing is strange. We need more answers because you can't just skip over this and go, oh, well, don't worry about it, guys. We're just moving the show to California like 6 days before the fight. This isn't something to glance over. There's something going on. It could be nothing. Maybe this is some type of oversight and it's like, oh, well, it's not what you think, guys. Or is it something to it and they try to brush it off?
His history makes it hard to think it's anything else.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it is. If it was,
yeah,
here you go. You just said it. If it was DC that this happened to, people would be like, "No way, something's wrong with the test." But he's never gotten in trouble for anything like this his entire career. So it would be odd if it showed up on his. I don't know.
The UFC. It's not like the UFC has ever let a fighter. Brock Lesnar fight Hunt, they knew that he had tested positive and they let him fight. So it would be the first or the last time. I know the commissions have jumped in there and obviously it's easier for them to fight where they're moving it, but it just 6 days before the fight. Can you imagine if, flying from Australia, I was flying all the way over there, had accommodation booked and everything like that. There would be thousands of people put out by this. Yes, it might be an oversight, but really, why wasn't it picked up before? And if they're saying that they've tested him and it didn't come up, but if they haven't tested him and this is the first test since, well, the UFC really need to start looking at their procedures. That's my point of view.
I want to know what happens to the person who bought $5,000 front row seats
and airfare and
Vegas.
Hotel. The people coming in from out of town. What about them?
Dana White said, well, if you want to come, we'll make sure you're sitting in the same spot. That's great, mate. But if you're going to pay for my flight there, you're going to pay for my accommodation, you're going to pay for my time. he's not going to be able to because there's going to be thousands of people that fly in. I don't fly to America, but I fly to New Zealand and anything close to my side of the world. Can you imagine if this, if this was a New Zealand fight, and oh yeah, that's fine. We're just going to move it to the other side of the, of New Zealand, which isn't that far, but still, you'd want to say, okay, well, I need to get something back from it, and I just don't think logistically the UFC can do it.
I wonder if it's going to turn people off to traveling to events. You know what I mean? It could turn people off. Like, I know if I flew there, and then they were like, "Hey, you got to hop this other plane." I don't want to do all that. I flew here to relax and have fun. Now I'm plane hopping. I don't know.
And what if you're fighting on this card, and all your family have flown in, and you're already been there for a couple of weeks, like Gus has, and you're going to fly? Oh, look, Jon Jones has still got a little bit of hot stuff in his body. We're just going to move it. So apologies, but you're going to have to fly again. I don't know about you, but athletes don't like to fly. Cuts into their prep time, hurts their weight cut. Stuff everybody else. Let's make sure Jon Jones is on the card. It stinks. But, yeah, I'm glad it's still happening. Something's not right.
Corey Anderson made a post about that very same thing. He was like, because he's on the card, and he's, he sent a tweet or something from the air, and he's like, hey, guys, I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but I wanted to respond. I don't have any more information. I'm about to land in Vegas. I just found out, about this, like, when you did. And he was saying in the post, I think he said he had, like, family and friends flying in to watch him fight. Like you said, I mean, really, and that is the worst part of it, because what about the fans that travel from other countries that come in, specifically just to see this? I mean, maybe they can rebook as something for, LA, or Inglewood. I think it's at the Forum. It's at the same place, I believe, that the Liddell Ortiz fight was at. I think it's at the Forum, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But the point is, like, that's got to be the worst part of it. You know what I mean? Like, the fighters, yeah, but, at least they're taken care of. They're not going to have to worry about, booking a flight or hotel accommodations. They're good. But those fans, that travel from outside the country, I just don't. That's a huge burn, And this
but
is.
If you're a fighter, Josh,
Yeah,
and you got family coming in, he's taken care of. But how many text messages, how many phone calls is he going to get leading into maybe the most important fight of his career? He's weight cutting. People are texting him saying, "Oh, I can't get there. I can't get here. Can you help me out?" That is pressure that they don't need. So I really hope that Dana and the UFC are really helping these fighters and everybody else get through this.
Yeah, and you know what, too?
Now,
go ahead, Nick.
An even bigger question that I thought of: if he goes out and wins, does it matter? Because if he goes out and wins, it's going to turn into, but he had something in his system, and then you're going to have to see a third fight with them, right? It's going to have to happen again, and then it's going to delay him in DC if they ever fight again. So I don't know. Would it have been easier to just scrap this fight?
I think it would have, because I think Cyborg and Nunes has enough clout to carry the pay-per-view. I do. I'm
thinking so.
I think it could have carried the card, to be honest with you. Here's the one thing that I want to know is one of those official, I don't know the guy's name, but one of the guys who actually works for, I believe, the California Athletic Commission. Actually, two things. So I remember a couple weeks ago that I read where the California Athletic Commission approved Jon Jones to fight. And it never dawned on me. But if you go back like a week or two, there was an article about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, the fight's in Vegas. Why the hell is California approving Jon Jones to fight? It's Nevada. That makes no sense. But it didn't really dawn on me. I didn't really think about it. I thought maybe it was a misprint, it was a typo, maybe somebody was doing something a little too fast. Secondly, the California Athletic Commission, somebody there in some type of official capacity said something to the extent of, this isn't abnormal. So there's no reason for alarm for this to happen. It's just the same remnants that's been in the system since last July. And I'm like, how the hell do you know that? Like, is there science available right now that can say, well, that steroid in your system, that one's 14 months old, that one's 18 months old, well, that one's fresh. That one's fresh. I mean, my brain is really exploded here as there's more questions than answers. I don't understand. I don't know, man.
Shouldn't they be on the front foot more? I know Dana's been out and he's doing what he can, and we can't all blame Dana for this because it's the whole company. But yeah, shouldn't they have been on the front foot to say, okay, this is definitely what it is? I've seen one interview; it hasn't really been pushed out, but this has gone crazy. And for them to just come out and say, okay, we're going to move it, and some of the fighters actually found out off social media, which is pretty cool.
Justin Charles, he's watching our show. He says, what if it was another fighter who pissed hot? Would they move the event for them?
I don't think so.
Hey, JC, how you going? He's from Australia, mate. He's a good mate of mine, so welcome to the show. Cool. Thank you. Go for it, Nick. You answer.
There you go.
I don't think they would move the show, because if, let's say, it happened to somebody, even on the main card, anybody else but the main and co-main, I think they would just scrap the fight.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, they've scrapped fights for breast implants.
Yeah.
That's happened. So, I don't know. I think it's the fear of losing. Do you lose pay-per-view buys if Jon Jones is not on the card? Does Nunes Cyborg carry the card? Absolutely. I'd rent it for them. I would.
I would too.
But is it even better because Jon Jones is fighting? Yeah. Then you have the diehards that want to see him fight and win. Then you have the diehard haters that are just renting him to see him lose. I don't know. I think him being on the card is a necessity for it to be overly successful, but I do think Cyborg Nunes could carry the card easily.
Yeah.
If they were the main event. I don't know. Eventually it'll come out. We'll get, you'll figure out what happened.
The card's stacked as well, so you wouldn't just have to rely on that main card. There's so many good fighters on that card. So, yeah, look, they took the decision to try to keep Jon Jones on it. So we'll have to wait and see. But it'll be interesting if he does win in, say, 30 seconds by a spinning head kick. How many people are going to say, well, hang on a minute.
He was on steroids.
Well, it's true.
I almost feel bad for him, because if it is an oversight, he's getting a lot of bad press. You know what I mean? So we don't know. Maybe he did go out, clean up his act, realize he's thrown away one of the greatest MMA careers ever, and he's doing the right thing. And you don't know.
And you know what? If that's the case, if it is an oversight, if I'm Jon Jones' team, I don't know if maybe suing is too strong of a word, but I would be having some very, very serious words with that guy who worded that wrong, then the guy that put that information out, because that was official information from the California Athletic Commission. If it is an oversight, but the way he worded it was, there are remnants of steroids present in his body right now, but they're remnants from last July. That's the way he worded it. If he meant to word it another way, I don't know, but something's wrong. I mean, I want to believe Jon Jones, because I love, everybody likes a comeback story, right? It feels good to see him come back and, maybe win another belt, turn his career back around, turn his life around. That's great. I don't think anybody wants him to screw up, right? I just don't think that's the case. But like you said earlier, it's really hard to trust. Right? It's really hard to trust him right now, because, as fans, we've been let down over and over and over. And it's like that, maybe that girlfriend you keep going back to, right? It's just over and over and over. Maybe it doesn't work, but you keep going back to it. I don't know, but you keep getting let down. I feel like it's something similar to that. And I don't know, man. It's just, it really breaks my heart. I hope it's nothing. I hope it's an oversight, and I hope this conversation we're having about it right now, maybe it's overkill. But I definitely think we need answers, bottom line.
So when he beat DC the second time, I'm not a massive Jon Jones fan. I love the way he fights. When he beat DC the second time, and he handled it, and he was really kind to DC, said, you're a champion. And I really sat there and watched the aftermath of that, and I thought maybe he's a good guy. maybe he's been portrayed the wrong way. Maybe again, I could start supporting this guy. Then he pissed hot again, and just one after the other. How unlucky can one person be? So he's either really unlucky or really stupid. Or what do you think?
I can't imagine that his team would allow him anywhere near anything. I believe that it's an oversight. I can't imagine it because once you strike out again, I mean, that's it.
Career's over.
What I mean? Yeah, and it's not worth throwing your career away for. So my belief is we're going to find out that this was an oversight, a typo, an accident, somebody speaking out of turn, talking before they had the facts, something like that. I'm sticking with that until proven otherwise.
Let's hope so, Nick. Let's hope so.
I do hope so too. I really do. But that was released this morning, so they've had now, 12 hours, give or take, 12 to 15 hours. That was released early this morning. They've had 12 to 15 hours. They've seen the blowback. I'm sure they have their finger on the pulse on social media. They know what the reaction is by now. Wouldn't you think that his manager, because the only statement we have is from Jon Jones, I believe, where he just says, "I'm a clean fighter." That's really all he said. There's nothing from his management, nothing like that. I would have thought that they would have said, "Whoa, we got to clean this up. We don't want this getting out of control. We want this to go as smoothly as possible." If anything, if I'm the UFC, if I'm Dana White, I'm calling up Jon Jones' team, like, "Hey, you guys got to get your shit straight. We're already in enough heat because we have to move the whole fucking show because of your guy.
Right.
We're moving the whole show because of your guy. You guys need to clean this up because we're already in a shitstorm. We got pissed off fans. We have to our guys. I'm sure the production guys. It's Christmas Eve, and Christmas coming up. These guys are probably going to have to work overtime and make sure everything is set up for the weekend. So."
I wonder if they're just holding steady. If it's a process like, hey, if you get some certain blood test, right, send it away, and they're like, hey, we'll call you back in 48 hours with the result. I don't know how it works with steroids, but maybe they're keeping quiet until there's a definitive answer. I mean, maybe there is a way to find out. Because there could be. Let's say they find out the shelf life for that steroid is 18 months.
Right.
Then they could kind of timeline it, you know what I mean? I think they really need to have a definite answer before anybody else makes any statements, including his team. They might say something, and even if they mean it in good faith, if it ends up being a lie, you're a liar. Even though you didn't do it, it wasn't malicious, you weren't covering nothing up. But I pray that it's an accident because, like him or not, it's always good when he's on a card. It's always a good card.
Agreed. I agree with that.
So, any other questions come through before we move off Jon Jones? Josh?
I'm looking right now. Any other questions for Jon Jones? Well, not for Jon Jones, about Jon Jones. No, I think we're good. By the way, guys, for you guys tuning in, please go check out our. You can look down at the bottom. I got the stuff at the bottom there. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the channel. So just go straight down to that subscribe button. Hit the little bell icon in the corner there. Subscribe to our stuff. We're releasing content almost every day. So please check that out. Lets us know how we're doing. Anyway, and send us a message. Follow us. Nick candlelit dinners. So we still
we're
have
back on this shit again.
We still have a running contests. He will do a candlelit dinner via Skype with one lucky fan. So
hang on.
Boom.
I'm gonna go unsubscribe. Hang on.
There you go.
I'm out. Hey, I wanna touch on Megan Anderson versus Kat Zingano. Obviously, I released an article last night about it. So I've obviously put out my opinion. So if you haven't seen it, jump onto Combat Insiders and tell me what you think. But Nick, who's your pick?
I am a huge Megan Anderson fan. This is not a secret. But I also... Huh?
What about her fighting? Like, we know you're a fan of her, but...
I'm talking about her fighting.
Okay.
But cool. I still think there's levels to this game. And She will one day be a UFC champion, but today's not it. I think Kat submits her.
Okay. At 28, how much better is she going to get?
There's current ranked fighters that are touching and over 40 that are getting better. So
Okay.
I think for her it's just a matter of getting the high level competition. You know what I mean? She's had 1, 2. I think it's going to take 2, 3 fights for her to get planted.
Yeah.
But before she came to the UFC, when it was more of an unknown, I always thought she was the one that was going to give Cyborg a run for the money.
I think Holly Holm just out game planned her. I think she's better than what she showed at the last fight. I think she's got a lot of upside. Again, I think she's improving every day. I don't think you stop learning. But I think she'd come in against Holly Holm expecting Holly to fight her like she did against Cyborg with that 1-2 high kick, 1-2 high kick. That's all she did for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
So I think they prepared for that. And when she took her down, I don't think Megan expected it. And I honestly think she just got out game planned. And I hope that you'll see a different Megan Anderson against Kat. Biggest thing, she's 5'6" versus a 6-footer. Kat is 5'6". Yeah. Megan is 6 foot. If Megan uses her front kicks, her long range stiff jab, and if she does get caught up in a grapple against a cage, just knee her. She's got really big legs. She can take her out. So, what do you think, Josh?
I mean, you nailed it right on the head. I think, Wayne. There's an 8-year difference between the two. There's a 5-inch reach advantage on Megan's part, so she's got the height. You know what? I think I'm very much in agreement with the Holly fight. No one saw that fight coming from Holly. We all expected the standard. We thought it was going to be a kickboxing match, right? I think that's what we all thought. Holly's been saying it for years that she's got a ground game, but nobody sees it except for people in their gym. And I guess it's just one of those things. She's never had to pull it out. Maybe she was like, you know what? I'm going to pop it out this fight. Because she had to look impressive, right? She had to look impressive going into that, and she did. I don't want to take anything away from Kat Zingano, but I don't know. I think she's tough as hell, and she's a gritty vet of the sport, but I don't know.
She has a legit ground game.
100% she does.
Super high level, but it's not hidden. She uses it.
1,000% she does. I mean, who is it? Is it the UFC vet, or is it the? I don't want to call Megan an up and comer per se, because she's not really up and comer. She's newer to the UFC, but she's been around. I don't want to call that, but is it the UFC newbie, or is it the kind of the grizzled veteran from Kat Zingano? I mean, this is really a tough one. I think on paper, you have to kind of give it to Kat, right? Just because of her record, and she's faced the tougher opponent. She's had the tougher record. But then, Megan, she just looked so freaking impressive. She's looked impressive thus far, and I think we're getting an impression of her because of how she did against Holly Holm. She didn't do that great, but is that a representation of what she can do in general, or is it what Wayne? Is it what Wayne said? Was it just the game plan? She got out game planned.
I think that was a game plan. They game planned perfectly for her.
Yeah.
They did their homework. They knew what she was coming with, and they did everything correctly. That's how it's supposed to work, I think, right?
Right.
Correct. Nick, what's your fight of the night other than the two, mate? Like, can you pick at something else that you're looking forward to? What fight are you most looking forward to?
I look forward to all the fights. Unfortunately for this one, and I like the main event, but I think the fight of the night is going to be the co-main event. I think it's, my prediction on this has not changed. So I see at least that fight going 4 rounds. And I didn't even look at Vegas odds. Is Cyborg the favorite, I assume?
Yeah. Yes.
By Vegas?
She will be.
Yeah.
Nunes, fourth round submission.
That is the 12th show that you've said it on, and we both know that Cyborg's going to take her out, mate. KO.
How do you know that?
I don't know that. This is an opinion piece, mate. We don't know anything. And the way that you've been losing lately, man, I'm more confident.
I lost 2. I picked
You
2
lost
bad
heaps.
ones.
You lost heaps, and I'm going to keep reminding you too. How's our battles going on Facebook? So I think it's 7-0 articles.
I'm gonna win this one.
No, you won't.
I got this one. And speaking of Holly Holm, she has. I know it's not on this particular card, but she has another fight coming up as well, right?
Yes, she does.
I can't see you, Josh, so I gotta.
Well, are we? I guess are we breaking the news? I mean, I guess it's official now, right? Because
I would go to say it's official because I've seen it on
it's in
both
social
fighters.
it's in social media. So, one of our pals of the show, Aspen Ladd, she's going to be fighting Holly Holm. We are pumped. When we heard the news, we could not be happier for Aspen, and I think just for fight fans in general, I think it's going to be an awesome fight. So we are super pumped for that. And hopefully we'll love to get her back on and talk about it, and just super pumped for that. I want to go
You
back.
like Wayne?
Who do you like in that? Wayne.
Mr. Wayne Carl?
Mate,
Who do you like in
Aspen
that?
Ladd. I'm going for Aspen. So I think that she's strong. I think she'll take her down. I think she's got a lot of power. I think she'll trouble Holly. So I'll go with Aspen.
Shit, we agree on something. Finally,
All
That
three
is-
of us.
That
All
is
three
the
of us.
That is the first time ever we've agreed. I'm going to throw another fight out there: Mendez versus Volkanovski. Who are you picking?
Mendez,
Okay.
done deal.
Why?
I don't. That was just a out there pick, but I always revert back to all currently the greatest fighters are always high level wrestlers. He showed it time and time again. I don't think it's going to be any different. He's back to make a run, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Volkanovski used to play rugby, so Mendez ain't going to be able to bully him like he does everybody else at that weight. Alexander is an absolute beast. The only way Mendez beats him is he's got power, obviously, in his punches. I don't think he out wrestles him. That's maybe I'm being biased Aussie, but I've seen Alexander fight a lot, and I don't see Mendez out wrestling him. That's just me.
All right, we're back to disagreeing. Let's do that.
Yeah, well,
I'm actually going
again.
I'm going with Nick on this one. I'm going to go with Mendez. Now I'm a little biased because I do tend to favor wrestlers, but I think Chad Mendez, man. I think if he hadn't got injured, his career was looking up, man. And honestly, had the fight not been on short notice, I'm thinking maybe he would have beat McGregor. So I think Mendez is tough. He has very strong wrestling. His stand-up it's not the greatest, but it's not bad. He does enough, and he can defend himself and then take it to the ground and smash him. But hopefully, I think he's going to take this. I think he's going to take him down, ground and pound. I'm thinking maybe TKO, maybe in the second or third round. So that's.
I feel better now, Josh. I feel better because me and Nick are disagreeing again. So the world's normal again. So
the world's normal again.
We had our brief moment, and that's it.
Yeah, it's over. It's done. Last time for the year.
All right, so I guess let's just shoot up the card then. Well, let me give my official pick on, even though you guys know it, the Cyborg Nunes pick. Nick picks 4th round submission, Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, buddy.
Wayne, I know you picked Cyborg. Do you have first round? What do you? Second round?
Second round.
KO?
Second round KO. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Chris Cyborg, unanimous decision, is what I think. I don't think Chris is going to put her away, but I think Chris is going to pressure her, and I think it's going to make Nunes crumble, but I think Nunes' defense and I think she's got enough heart that she's not going to get finished, but I think Cyborg is going to win unanimous decision. Okay, let's go back down to Latifi versus Corey Anderson. So you basically got a really strong wrestler against a pretty good wrestler, but with good stand-up. I think
Latifi.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Latifi because he looked good in his last fight. Corey Anderson's good too. He looked good too. Again, he's a hell of a strong wrestler, but I don't know if he has the. I think he's just going to have to go for the takedown. I don't think if he stands in the pocket with him and trades with him, I don't think it's going to be. It's going to be a short night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who do you have?
Nick?
No. Who do you have?
Corey Anderson. He's a Jersey guy. That's all I got to say.
Well, yeah.
So you're just being biased. You've got
Yeah.
nothing to back your opinion up. You're just being biased.
No,
At least when I
not
go
biased.
to the Aussies, I make up something.
I think Corey Anderson can knock him out.
Okay. Next fight.
All right. So, all right. Fair enough. Carlos Condit, Michael Chiesa. What do you guys think?
Michael Chiesa by submission. I think Carlos, great fighter, but time has passed. I just think he's tail ending. That's all.
I'm praying for Condit to pull it out. I'll be barracking for him, but I don't think. I think it's a bad matchup for him. I don't think the UFC are doing him any favors with this matchup because Chiesa's. Yeah, I just think everything that Condit doesn't want to fight is what Michael. You know, if he could sit down and write, this is the sort of thing I don't want to fight against. That would actually draw a picture of Michael Chiesa. So,
Agreed.
I'll go with Chiesa, but I'll be pulling for Carlos Condit.
I think we are all in agreement again. Let's also not forget Michael Chiesa. This is his first fight at welterweight, so he's moving up from lightweight. So we might see a stronger, healthier Michael Chiesa to boot with that. I think you hit the nail on the head, Wayne. That really Carlos Condit, he needs somebody that's going to trade with him. I think that's something that's going to bring the best out of him. Wrestle him to the ground, grappling. Because Chiesa's going to pop some submissions. I don't think it's going to be a good night for as tough as Carlos Condit is. I don't think it's going to be a great night for him. All right, so we're in agreement with there. Surprisingly, we already talked about Cyborg abandoning this fight. Obviously, then of course there's the main event with Jones and Gus. It's an interesting fight. A lot of people, first fight was close, right? There are some people who think Jones fairly won. It was close, but it was fair. A lot of people on the other side say that, well, no, I think Gus won. It was, it was a close enough fight for Gus to win. I've been on the fence about that for years, that fight. And at first, when I first watched it, I thought Gus won it. Looking back on it, I think now Jones did win, but I still think it was damn close. I still think it was close. Jones is coming off a long layoff. Gus is coming off a long layoff, right? So they both have similar amounts of ring rust. Whereas Gus is coming off of an injury, Jones is coming off of, popping a needle in his ass. Well, it wasn't really. It was tainted supplements, but it's similar journeys. But do you think that these guys? Let's put the pick the winner aside for a second. Do you think it's fair for these guys to come off such long layoffs and pop right into a huge main event on a huge show for the title when neither of them have fought in over a year and a half?
In any other division, it wouldn't have happened. But in the 205 space, it can happen because they're the two biggest names. It isn't as stacked as wouldn't have. I don't think it'd happen at welterweight or 155 or 145. But if it was ever going to happen in 2018, this would be the division. That's my opinion. That allows them to come straight back in. And obviously, DC's gone up, so I think it's special circumstances.
What do you think, Nick?
I don't want to agree. Yeah, I don't want to agree with him, but I'm going to agree with him. Yeah, it's right. Everything's aligned correctly for this fight to happen. It's just what it is. It makes sense.
Slowly but surely, we're getting on the same page, Nick. We've only worked with each other for, well over a year.
No, that's not going to happen anymore.
Justin Charles says, unfortunately, Jones loves controversy and he will win with a spinning elbow. Interesting prediction.
Justin Charles, I agree with you in the second round. I thought initially He was going to have to finish Gus to kind of wipe away the first fight. Now that they have to move states and move all over the place to do it, he's got to come up big. He's got to have something big to overshadow all the bullshit, whether it's true or not.
I agree with you that he has to come up big. I agree with that. In order for him to overshadow all the shit, I agree. He's got to come up. He's got to come up big. This is hard for me to decide, man, because I honestly flip flopped on this. I have.
Get off the fence.
I know. I said I wanted Jones. Now I'm kind of leaning more towards Gus. I want to make sure that the pick isn't emotional, right? Because I think we all feel a certain way towards Jon Jones. I don't want that to affect my, the analytical side. I don't want that to affect it because it shouldn't. What his shit outside the ring and all that shit, it shouldn't have anything to do with the fight. It shouldn't.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to deny Jon Jones is the greatest fighter. It's hard to deny him of that accolade, the greatest of all time.
Second?
Who's
Second?
Who's first?
GSP.
Okay, I can buy that because if you want to go by from a title defense standpoint, you've got GSP and you got Anderson Silva. When it comes to title defenses.
And you got Demetrius Johnson.
One out of the top three.
You're right.
Positive.
You're right. Demetrius Johnson has to be in there. You're absolutely right.
But one out of the top three hasn't tested positive. So Anderson Silva, Jon Jones, GSP. GSP stands alone. That could be another podcast, guys. I think we could do a whole series on GOAT. Yeah, we could obviously bring out who I left out of a year ago. That could be another.
You left out Artem Lobov. That's who you left out.
Yeah, you're going to start wooing at the event. So I'm obviously going. Did you answer, Josh? Who are you going for?
I didn't answer.
He was on the fence.
Man, no. You know what? It sucks. I think emotionally, I want to say Gus because I almost want to see. I want to see it for Gus too because I like Gus. I've liked Gus for a while. I want to see him win the belt, but the inner part of me. Jones is a tough cookie. He's a tough customer, and for both of them to come back, and don't get me wrong. I think this is a tough fight for both of them, right? Because they're both coming back into this. Damn. Can I just say draw? Can I do that? Can I say draw? Is that fair?
Yeah, I'll let you get away with that. I'm going to go Gus by decision, and here's why. I think Jones struggles with people that are close to his height. I think he didn't struggle, but with OSP, he wasn't as good. And everyone said, it's because he was lifting weights. No, he was fighting someone his own size.
Yeah.
When he fights someone his own size, he struggles. If DC was 3 or 4 inches taller, yeah, coulda, woulda, shoulda, we understand that. I think them being the same height, and he's not used to it, I think Gustafsson will come away with the win. 5-round decision. Last time it was 48-47 to Jones. Even though I'm not a fan, love the way he fights, but not a fan of the fighter. I had him winning. So even from my biased opinion, I thought Jones won that first fight. But I think the rematch, I think it'll be reversed. I think he'll win at 48-47. It'll be close. It'll be a great fight. Could be fight of the year.
Could be.
Don't agree with me, Nick.
This is it. This is the only time this is ever going to happen. Now, the even bigger question: when you close out a year with a card like that, how do you beat the year? You gotta look forward to next year. There's all the chitter chatter about this fight, that fight. What are 3 fights you'd like to see happen in 2019?
Wayne Carl versus Nick Portella.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
I know one off the top. Now we're talking before the end of 2019, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Got to be Jones and DC3. That's got to be number 1.
You know what?
If he beats Gus, it has to be. He has to fight him.
I don't know.
That's the big one.
I don't know that I want to see that unless it's at heavyweight. I don't want to see it at light heavyweight.
No, why not?
That's the only way. That's the only way. I even remotely want to be interested in that because
Does that fight even make sense though for DC?
I don't think DC should fight him.
If he takes an L, does it? I mean, his legacy is going to be great no matter what.
Sure.
He's like the perfect champion. You know, never does stuff wrong. This, that, and the other thing. But I feel like if he fights him again and loses, and there's nothing to fall back on, no drug tests, no this, no that, I think it hurts him. I don't think Jones is a good matchup for him at any weight, style wise.
But he's a competitor. What's the difference between losing twice to someone, even though he popped for it, or 3 times? He's the only person that's ever beaten him. Why wouldn't you take that opportunity? If he can live with losing twice, he can live with losing 3 times.
He could.
Justin says,
"You made $2 million. He can spinning elbow me to the head, mate. It's do you know what I mean? His legacy is what it is. He's a double champ. So I think taking on Jones, I think, should be his final fight. Win, lose or draw, he goes out. Most of the the MMA community still respect him. Yeah, you still got people that are DC haters because they're Jon Jones fans. But I think it makes sense they have to fight at heavyweight because Jon Jones he could fight at heavyweight tomorrow. He's got the frame for it. So I think it'd be a great fight.
Justin says, what would DC have to do to be considered the GOAT? What would he have to do to be in the conversation?
Beat Jones.
I think he's in the conversation. I think he puts himself way up there, like Wayne said, if he beats Jon Jones.
I think you're right. I think he is. I agree with you. I think DC is the way he carries himself in and outside the ring does make him the ideal champion. He's a poster boy, right? He is he's the poster boy that UFC hasn't had in a while. I mean, GSP was a good poster boy as a champion. He was a great example. Anderson was for a while. Anderson was a good poster boy. Conor really wasn't a good poster boy. He got asses in the seats and got eyeballs, but he was not a good poster boy for the UFC. Ronda was pretty good, in her time. She was good. She was a good poster girl for that. So.
There's one fight I'm looking forward to. You got to make Khabib versus Tony
for the 37,000th time.
No, I know. This will be the 4th or 5th time, but I think that Tony will create problems for Khabib that he's never seen before. I'd still pick Khabib to beat him, but I think if anyone's going to beat Khabib, it'll be Tony.
I would like to see that fight, and you all know the last one I want to see, and it makes more sense now than ever. It really does. McGregor Diaz 3 makes sense now.
Yes.
Although I wanted to see Diaz Poirier, actually.
I still want to see Diaz Poirier.
Yeah, I'm a little upset that one's not going on. I think that would have been that would have had potential, both fight of the year potential. I think it would have been good.
Who am I going to barrack for? Diaz or McGregor? I'll barrack for the referee.
I know who I'm voting for.
Well, we all know who you're voting for, but I'd probably go Diaz. Now, I'd most likely go for Diaz. If it was at 170, we've spoken about this. But yeah, look, I think it'd be a great fight. It has to happen now. They're both going to get 20 million out of it, so I just think it has to happen.
I don't know. I think I would have to. I want to see it at 155. I don't think I want to see it at 170 again. I feel like Conor's extra sluggish at 170.
Yeah, that'd be at 155. Yeah.
I think the result's the same at either weight.
It could be. That's another fight. I'll be honest with you. With that fight, I want to see it. Don't get me wrong. What I'm about to say doesn't mean I don't want to see the fight, but I could care less who wins. I'll just be honest. Diaz could win, great. Conor could win, great. I don't really care who wins. I just know that it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight regardless. I think that's, I don't really have a whole lot of stock. Regardless of what Nick says, I don't have a whole lot of stock in Conor. I know he thinks. He told somebody the other day I was like a huge Conor. I'm not a huge Conor fan. But a couple fights.
Nut hugger.
Yeah, nut hugger. Yeah, McNuggets. That's the other one? McNugget. Woodley and Covington. I want to see that before the end of the year.
Yes.
I would love to see Askren and Khabib. Ben Askren and Khabib. I don't know if it could happen, but I want to see that. I don't know how. I want to see. I wouldn't mind seeing Max Holloway and Connor run it back. I don't know if three's
I think
enough.
Max smashes him though. I think this time
he does. Max is Max is something right now. He's on another fucking dimension right now.
Yeah.
What he did to T City, I never seen coming. I rate T City. And,
Nobody
he just bashed him.
Nobody did.
Dude, I picked T City to win that fight. So
that's another one you go wrong.
That's the other one I got wrong.
Max beat T City so bad. I could have. I think Max went in fucking time and went into the future, watched the fight, came back, and knew exactly what the fuck was going to happen. That's how good it was. He looked like he knew exactly when everything was coming. It was almost unbelievable. Like, I remember watching it. I'm just like, Max is so crisp. It's almost like you're watching him in slow motion. I can't really explain it. He's so crisp because he's fast, but he's not the fastest, but he's fast. But he's just so damn accurate and so crisp with his shots. It's almost like I'm watching him in slow motion. I can't really explain it.
You know what I'm scared of, Josh? That they give Edgar to him. Frankie Edgar is one of my all-time favourites. I don't want him to fight Max Hollywood. I don't want him to fight Max because I think Max,
I don't either.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely takes him out. I don't want to see Frankie end his career like that. So, of course, if they fought, I'd be pulling for Edgar. But I think Max has gone past, where the division was for so many years. I think if you look at pound for pound, he'd be up there right now.
So who does he fight next? Who's competition for him? Honestly.
He needs to move up.
He needs to move up. Yeah, I agree. He needs to move up. I don't think 145.
I don't know, man. That's kind of crazy.
Who's he going to fight at 145, you know?
Right, I understand that. But it's crazy when a guy gets so good for his division that it's like, all right, we got to move you up. Why move up? Somebody's got to get better and come to his way. You know what I mean? Like Khabib Askren. If those guys were in the same weight class, I think Khabib takes him out. But Askren coming down to 155, crazy.
Khabib could easily do 170. Khabib would go up. He could do 170.
Right. Anybody can eat food and get up a weight class, but will he be the same with the extra weight?
He's a big boy anyway. I mean, Khabib usually, even on fight night, I think Khabib's in the 180s on fight night. I really don't think it would be that big of too huge of a stretch. You know, that brings me, you know what that makes me think of? What would you guys think of Dillashaw moving up to 145 and challenging Max Holloway at 145? What do you think about that?
I think he'd get knocked back down to 135. I don't know.
I think that's a lot more interesting because if I'm talking about overall, across the board in the weight classes, I put Max Holloway fucking up there. I think he's 1 or 2 right now. I'm not talking about all time. I just mean like right now. I think Max Holloway is fucking up there. I think he's either the first or second pound for pound guy. I know DC is double champ, but I think pound for pound, I think Max Holloway is the elite fighter to watch right now.
Can I hold you up real quick? And I don't care either way, the DC Jones thing.
Yeah.
But and this comes up online all the time.
Yeah.
Is he the double champ? Did he take the light heavyweight title off of somebody by beating them?
No, someone cheated and beat him, so he got
no, but back. Is that his fault, though? That's not DC's fault.
But that's like saying it's not Max Holloway's fault that he could beat up everybody at 145. So they want him to move up.
It's not the same.
That's apples and oranges.
It's the same thing.
That's apples and oranges. No, I don't think it's the same.
It might be apples and oranges, but they're both fruits. I'm saying it's situational. They should have did some like a tournament to get to the belt, because half the people are always going to say, all right, you have the belt, but who did you beat to get it? I don't care either way. I'm just making a conversation.
Only the common fans would say that. We all know DC. Only common fans will say that.
What are you trying to say, Wayne? What are you trying to say, Wayne?
Nick's a common fan. Only common fans will say that.
That's a common fan with a valid question, though. It's valid.
Nah, it's not.
It is. It really is. I think it is.
Okay.
I think to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. If he goes and fights again.
So if the champ gets done for roids,
okay,
he beat himself. So he doesn't need to beat anyone. The champ beat himself. Let's be honest. Jon Jones beat himself. No one can beat Jon Jones at the moment. He just gets beaten himself. So that is not DC's fault.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I think now check this out. I'm gonna come from another angle. You guys are both right. I think you guys are both right. You know, it's not it's not DC's fault, right? It's not DC's fault that Jones got popped. That's not DC's fault. On the other hand, you know, it does leave there is a slight stigma because he didn't beat anybody, and he admits this. He's like, you know, I lost that fight. I know it says whatever uncontested or whatever the hell the
no contest.
No contest. I'm sorry. I know it's a no contest, but he's like, I lost that fight. You know, he went on to beat Ozdemir for the belt, defend his belt against Ozdemir, and he said that he thinks that kind of made it right. I don't think it made it completely right. I think when he beat Stipe, he made up for it a little bit by getting that second belt and really just knocking Stipe, you know, into another planet. I think he kind of redeems himself with that. But I don't know. I think there is a stigma on DC because he didn't beat Jon Jones, but then it's not his fault that I think he got put in a shitty situation. He lost the fight. They gave him the belt back. He didn't ask for the belt back. They gave him the belt back. That wasn't DC's call. That was UFC's call, right? It wasn't his fault, but it's, you know, I think you're both right. Essentially, I think you're both right. You both have good points.
So if you need to fight someone to get a belt, how did Ronda get her first belt? Was that at a press conference? Yeah, she don't have to fight anyone. She just has to look pretty and Dana hands her belt. So that beta champ is bullshit.
Now, if I'm not mistaken,
but wait, Demetrius Johnson, how did he get his belt? He went through the Ultimate Fighter, and just held it. So
there's rules for Ronda and rules for Demetrius, and we've seen how that ended up. But to be the champ, you have to beat the champ. Ronda didn't beat anyone. She beat someone that was, you know, barely in the top 10 in her first fight. Let's be honest. Liz is a good fighter, but she wasn't in the top 3 or 4. They wanted her to win that, and then she could crown herself and say, "I'm the champ."
Wasn't Jose Aldo in the same position when they brought over the featherweights? Because he was the featherweight he was the featherweight champion in WC, came over and he was just featherweight champion in UFC. Is my memory right on that?
It is, but isn't it now? That isn't even apples and oranges because if the division didn't exist,
they're fruit though.
No, but they're not fruit. If the division doesn't exist.
I'm just busting your nuts, brother.
I know, but if the division doesn't exist, they have to do it somehow.
Now you're just moving the goalpost. You're just moving the goalpost.
I don't know. I don't know if it's moving the goalpost. If nobody was there to begin with, somebody's got to be first.
You know what I think it is, right? DC, you don't like him. What do you got to bet against short, fat, bald men? Is there something going on?
I like DC. I'm not a DC hater.
Okay, just
I'm not a hater. And wait, since you brought it up, the real fight to make in my mind is why isn't Stipe getting a rematch?
He should.
He should.
Yes,
because I think if they fought 9 more times, Stipe beats him all 9 times.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I agree he should have gotten the rematch 100%.
It's a 50-50 fight, I'm saying. It's a 50-50 fight.
No, see, I don't know. I don't know if it's 50-50. I think if they rematch, Stipe gets a belt back.
See,
Stipe gets hurt a lot.
I think Stipe, I don't want to use the word lucky. if DC implements his game plan, DC is going to win that fight more often than not. The only way Stipe gets the win on DC is if he catches him with a hand. I don't want to use the word lucky because I don't like using the word lucky when it comes to fights, but Stipe has to catch him. All DC has to do is be himself, and he's going to beat Stipe Miocic. That's what I think.
But let me ask you, wasn't Stipe fair and just fine, and he got caught with a hand, like an inside shot that just landed?
It was set up.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one to answer because DC wanted to be where he was at. He was setting himself up to get in that inside, that over under position to push off, and he knew that Stipe put his hand down. So that's tough to say because I think DC purposely took a couple shots so he can get in there. He wanted Stipe to feel confident, so he would kind of let his guard down. He wanted Stipe to feel like Stipe had the advantage, and maybe he wouldn't have to feel like he had to be guarded up the whole time. I think that was all game plan. To be honest with you, that's tough to answer.
I agree with Josh.
So,
of course, of course you do.
Very good. Good show, guys. Any more questions, or we good?
Gentlemen, I think we're good. I'd say pretty for first Combat Weekly. At least it's been first live show in a while. I think we did one a while back, but it's been a long time. Had a good time, even if we didn't all agree on everything, but that's okay. That's okay.
It's okay.
That's all right. I guess we'll kind of do a follow up after the show, but we will come back to this because I want to see how our results tallied out. See who got the most wins. So we'll figure that out. Go to combatinsidersmedia.com. Just look at everything that's on the bottom of the video here. Go Twitter, Facebook. Please subscribe to our YouTube if you're watching this live. Please go subscribe to it. Hit the notification button. We're here all the freaking time. We grind this stuff out, and we try to put out the best content we can for you guys. So articles, videos, whatever. Give us suggestions. If you think something stinks, let us know. If you think it's great, let us know. If you want to see something more that maybe we're not doing, let us know. We don't know unless you tell us. We try our best to kind of, reinvent the wheel and do things here and there. But ultimately, we want to hear from you guys. The three of us can talk all day long and spit ideas, but we want to hear from you guys. But I think that's all we got. Nick Portella, Wayne Carl, Josh Furs. We're Combat Insiders, and we're out.